Everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. So, I want to speak about something very important today, and it has to do with the divine feminine wearing a mask. Sometimes I think in one of my previous podcasts, I'd spoken of this that it is crucial that the divine feminine herself also looks at her blocks to union, meaning that it's not just that the divine masculine has done this or said this or is not ready for the connection, and the blocks of the divine feminine for union means it's not just about the subconscious blocks or the energy blocks or the inner work that she has to do or something of that sort, but it is actually about why does she not want union, because so many divine feminines that I speak to and I meet and see and know, and it's so normal that the divine feminine herself can resist the divine masculine, not knowing that she's doing it, because the divine feminine is in a chasing and an addictive energy till she has stabilized and ascended, where surrender comes in very naturally. But essentially, it is very common that the divine feminine herself can hold some beliefs against union. Maybe she has very overt situations in her life. What are overt situations? Like maybe she's already married, maybe the she doesn't want to break her relationship with her husband, who's not her twin flame. Maybe there are other reasons, as to why she doesn't want union, which is all right, but you should examine as to what your intention is, with the kind of union that you do want, because after all, it is about your manifestation. So, the other reason can be a covert kind of a fear within her. So, when you really, really dive deep and have that conversation with self, and it's not very readily that this conversation can happen, but if your consciousness is ready, to spell it out to you as to what your fears are about union, then you must take a note of those. So, one fear can be low self esteem. One very important fear can be, I am not good enough for this. How can such a beautiful thing happen to me? Nothing great has ever happened to me in this way. I've always compromised, or I've always, like, I'm not even that beautiful. These good things can only happen to beautiful women. Now, these are not the beliefs that you are dwelling in consciously, but these are the beliefs that you could hold unconsciously, because they are coming from your childhood when you were a very young girl or a young boy. And when I say feminine, masculine, and use the pronouns of she and he, they basically are just energy based pronouns and not gender pronouns. So, when the feminine, was a young child, what she could have experienced, would have been something like this, where she saw maybe this thing happened in her school, or it got reinforced by a parent, where she started to believe that she's not beautiful, like she's not conventionally beautiful. And everyone has their own unique beauty, and this is a journey which teaches you to acknowledge and accept and love your own unique personal beauty. Okay, but what the subconscious belief can be is that I am not beautiful, so I am not deserving, so I will never have the best that is out there, that I can receive. I will not have the most handsome man as my partner. I will not have I will not be the most beautiful woman, in a party. There will definitely be some other woman who will be prettier or something like that. Look at it and examine as to how you have thought about yourself in the past, how you may have placed other people on a pedestal. You may have placed other women on a pedestal and thought they are prettier, they are more beautiful, their hair is like this or like that, and mine is like this or that. There can be umpteen things, but you must look at this. Don't be triggered by this, don't be offended by this. This is a subconscious block that is present, and just speaking from my own experience is how I basically speak here with you all, because these were the blocks that I had also seen in me, very very deeply ingrained, as I've also often spoken of, that low self esteem was something very very crippling, that took me a very long while to sort of weed out of my system. And trust me, these issues, when you start to sort of go within and look into them, they keep coming back up in deeper and deeper layers. So it's actually just, it takes a while, for this work to fully and completely heal you. It will take a while, and you have to be conscious of what you are thinking about yourself, what self concept is coming up for you in various situations. Okay, so this can be one of the covert beliefs, one of the hidden beliefs, that I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, my twin flame is too good looking for me, and all of that. One more, fear of union, how in another place it can be. And the basic topic that from where I started speaking of this is that you may have thought that I have to be somebody else for my twin flame to be attracted to me. Now, this somebody else doesn't have to necessarily be somebody else physically, but I have to act and behave in a certain way which is more palatable to my twin flame. Now, maybe, many of you could have age gap connections wherein your twin flame is younger to you. So you could, maybe have a belief that I have to act younger, I have to be of a younger vibe, even if I'm older, I have to try to act like I'm his age or act like women who are his age. If your twin flame comes from a certain culture, maybe they come from a culture which is traditional. This is a very common wound in the twin flame journey, where you may think that, oh, he comes from this very traditional culture or a specific kind of a culture, or a cultural heritage, and I have to behave more like that. I have to start now being more like, the like I come from that culture of from where my twin flame comes. I have to educate myself about that region, that place, that country, whatever it is, and I have a religion, and I have to start acting like that person. All right. So that, is also again something that you have to look into, you have to go within, and you have to start basically, healing that. And know that you don't have to wear any mask on your twin flame journey. You don't have to be your twin flame's type. This is the entire connection. Neither is your twin flame your type in the first instance. The moment you meet, you're not immediately thinking, this is the kind of person that I would ever be drawn to. And nor are they ever thinking that immediately that, you could be the person that they would be drawn to. Because the attraction is, the magnetism is at the level of soul. It has very, very little to do with your body and the basic paraphernalia around the body, like, your age or your culture or where you're born and who you are and your identity and what you do, how much money you make, and all of that. So this can be a mask, that you could be wearing, where you now want to be, maybe your twin flame is, you think your twin flame is very smart or very intelligent. You want to be more intelligent. Or, oh, he's interested in, reading these things and talking about those things, and this is his interest area. So I will go educate myself about those interest areas, and I will make my life about what he really likes, in his life, what are his interests. I will start acting like that. It can also get worsened if you have seen your counterpart with karmic people, or third party situations wherein they seemingly connect, on these levels, which seems to you that they connect with some person, at a deeper level on their, areas of interest than they connect with you. And this is very deep, actually. If you really think about it, this is coming from the experiences, that divine feminines genuinely have. And then, whenever one, you should understand that this is not true, because the way your twin flame connects with you and the way they enjoy conversations with you, they can't enjoy that with anybody else. That is for sure, because your conversations are driven by your energy. There's an energetic exchange, there's a complementarity, there's a whole, natural rhythm to the back and forth that you enjoy with your counterpart, all right, that they can't find anywhere else. That anywhere else, it's going to be very dry, it's going to be just empty, it's going to feel extremely very, very empty to them. So don't think that my twin flame, has a better connection elsewhere because of the interests that he has, and I don't have those interests, so let me read up on those interests. Don't make that mistake, because this basic act of your ego to try to be more palatable to, your twin flame, or try to just be more acceptable for your twin flame, or try to do things that will make you more seemingly more attractive for your twin flame, are the masks that you will start to wear. And this itself is going to serve as an unconscious block on your journey, meaning that your own inner self, which doesn't like this betrayal, which is afraid of this betrayal, self betrayal, where she is not being valued for who she is. Maybe she doesn't like what her twin flame likes. Personalities between twin flames can be different. It's normal and natural, right? But the point is that she could just start thinking that maybe deep down she could create a fear of coming together with her twin flame, because she would then have to think she has to wear a mask, or she would think that she's not good enough, or she has to look a certain way, she has to behave this way, she has to be interested in the stuff that her twin flame is interested in. And especially if your twin flame divine masculine has very eclectic interests and is just very vocal about what he likes, and you've had those discussions, and they can give you this feeling of, oh, I must read up on this, or I must be able to uh, engage with him on these topics in the way in which he would appreciate. So this can be very nuanced actually. So it can also be that you may have had disagreements with your twin flame in the past, but just sometimes when the divine feminine wants to hold on to the connection, before separation hits, there is that interval, when the divine feminine is trying very hard to have that interaction with the divine masculine, to continue that interaction and to not have the interaction stop. So she can then try very, very hard to impress him, try very hard to do things or say things that make sense to him, that will be of interest to him. So she thinks that this is the way in which I will have my twin flame. How will I have him? By doing things that he likes doing, by showing to him that I am also interested in this, or by there could be many common areas that you already have in common between the both of you, but you will try to emphasize on those aspects that your twin flame really appreciates or is really fond of. What This is self betrayal, because yourself is a very, very beautiful holy being inside of you. And this is not that journey of finding commonality with your twin flame, because your commonality, your sameness is already established. There's not even a similarity, there is a sameness. You are the same, you're not even similar, right? So that is already established, so there is no point in trying to prove it superficially through looking at their interest areas, what they are like, what they would like, what kind of women do they like, so I should try to be more like that. Unconsciously you could be doing this because you have done this in the past with other men or other women. In the past you could have tried to wear masks with other people, tried to be more like them, and this is just something that I also experienced, where in the past in my relationships I used to try to have interest areas which were more of interest to the people that I was friends with, or the people that I was in a romantic relationship with over the years. This was something which was unconsciously happening. You make yourself fit into a mold, and you could be doing this even with your parents, even with your family. You could be doing this where you're not just able to be who you are. You have to be in a certain way around your father, around your mother, in a way where they accept you. Otherwise you're very afraid as to how will they respond to you if you really just came out to be who you are. And that is basically something you have to go very deep into, healing that aspect from you, going into looking at those connections that expect you to wear a mask, and the fear associated with leaving that mask aside. There is a very deep fear associated with that mask. All right, what is that deep fear? That if I take this mask off and I really start to be myself around the people that I have in my life, they will not accept me. I will be rejected, I will be scolded, I will be judged, I will be many women have this, that I will be shamed, because women have a problem. The society shames women all the time. It's so unfortunate, it is so sad. Women are shamed for their sexuality, women are shamed for their beauty. If you like just dress up too well, then you're trying to get attention outside, or it can be just anything at all. You're very independent, then they could just shame you for not being family oriented, or not being able to fit into the conventional societal system. This is exactly the matrix. If you're listening to this, let me tell you, this is the matrix that you have to understand, that it has created wounding inside of you, it has created shame inside of you, it has created this whole uh, your true self is buried underneath all of this shame and everything. When you were very, very young, many women could have been chastised for behaving in this way or that way. Slut shaming is so common among women. All women have experienced it. I think almost all women have experienced slut shaming. So, this exactly is, what caused you to wear a mask. But now you're on the spiritual awakening journey. It's time to take that mask off. It's time to understand that you are safe in being yourself. You are safe in being your sexual self. You are safe in being your womanly self. You are safe in being any kind of a self that you are, your innocent self. Okay, anything, any adjective that is coming to your mind, your pure self, your childlike self. So many women lose their childlike innocence just because if they start, behaving in a playful manner, if they laugh too loudly, people will call them out and say, oh, she's laughing too loudly, she doesn't take life seriously. Do you know how many times children actually hear this? Especially men hear this a lot. When they're growing up, men teenagers, like boy teenagers, when they're growing up, it's so common for parents to scold them and say, just take life seriously. So child will then think, I'm not even allowed to laugh loudly. I'm not even allowed to act like this. Or a girl starts wearing makeup when she's very young, just because she's playful, she's curious, and she just wants to know about it. It's such a natural thing. Every girl plays with makeup. Her parents can scold her for wearing a lipstick, or playing with makeup. It could just be that no, don't do that, and you want to grow up too fast, or you're trying to attract attention. It can be said in such, not just these very obvious ways, but even it can actually be said in very subliminal ways, where you could have disapproving glances, or disapproving, just your parents could disapprove of you to be like that, right? Or you had too many guy friends while growing up, and you were judged for that. Maybe the society judged you, or something else happened. You could have your own personal traumas. There can be so many kinds of personal traumas, but remember that this society is not the awakened society that you care about, because an awakened society will not put shame inside of you. An awakened society will give you love for who you are, right? An awakened society will just accept you as you are. But this is a tall order to expect this from society, because the society itself is not awakened. And you have to now give your love to yourself here in these places, and see who is this beautiful divine feminine energy within you, who is this person within you. Forget everything else. Who is this being inside of you? What does she like? What is she like? How does she want to be deep down if she didn't have all of this shame and fear and all of that? uh, who will she be? What will she be like? What clothes will she wear? What colors will she wear? How will she go out? And how will she sit? How will she talk? How will she dance? How will she walk if she wasn't being watched by anybody, and not even by herself? Because sometimes this judgment is just judgment of the self. All right, it's basically judgment that others have given to you, and you have started judging yourself. This is what you actually have to heal. All right. And you know what, like, this goes even a step further. Also examine where you judge other people. This is so important. If you ever judge anyone on any kind of a metric, any kind of a basis, that is usually indicative of where your judgment lies for yourself as well. So if you are judging somebody, let us say you judge a girl for wearing clothes in a certain way or something like that, it could be because you are judging yourself to be wearing clothes in a certain way. All right. I know this is not relevant for today's day and age, but this will resonate with some of you, I'm sure, because many grow up in traditional cultures where women are chastised for how they dress up. So it's very normal and natural. If you judge anybody for how they present themselves, that means that you will also judge yourself in these areas, and you have in the past somewhere judged yourself in these areas, and this is why you thought that it was too painful. Maybe somebody else judged you, or you judged yourself, and you let that part of you get disintegrated from you, and that part gets reflected to you now through other people. So I apologize for the background noise. I really can't help it right now. So the point, is that just look at this, because if you are wearing a mask on your twin flame journey and you're trying to adorn another mask by trying to be more, to your twin flames preference, or what your perception is going to be your twin flames preference, then you have to let that go, because your inner being is then going to create a resistance for your union. Your ego will have these defense mechanisms of wearing a mask, and your inner being may think that your twin flame union is not right for you. Your inner being may think, I'm better off with a soulmate who might accept me as I am, and I just might get to be who I am. With my twin flame, I have to be too like this or like that, or culturally like this or like that, right? But this can't be further from the truth, because this is not that connection. It's not that you can't be comfortable and you can't be your true self with your twin flame. It cannot be further from the truth. It's the other, so far maybe your experiences have been different. So far maybe you've not been able to be yourself, with your counterpart. But this is why, there is no harmony right now in the outside connection with your counterpart. This is for you to heal. So going forward, when you are envisaging a harmonious, connection with your counterpart, that harmonious connection will begin with you creating some harmony within you. Harmony will be created within you when you start looking at, where am I wearing a mask? Why am I wearing a mask? And shed it. Let people judge you. Let people say whatever to you. Let them do whatever to you. Look at how it is triggering you, and just heal that, rather than giving people, anybody, whether it's your family, your parents, literally just anyone in the society, in the world. Don't give anybody the power to decide what you should be like, to decide your value, your worth. Many divine feminines have done this all their lives. Their value and their worth seems to have come from what other people have said, what other people have expected of them, what the society has expected of them, what their parents have expected of them, what their fathers and mothers have expected of them. It's time now to shed it completely and just be yourself. If somebody can love you for who you are, it's all right, they can stay around. If they can't, then that's all right as well. You could be triggering them, which is okay. But you just live your life the way you want to live. You're not out there to hurt people. You're not out there to, deliberately go and, just hurt anybody. But just be your true self, whatever that is. All right? Look within, seek support of the divine here. I know this is a very difficult challenge to be yourself, but this is, a hidden place which could just actually be stopping your inner self from calling in your counterpart. It could be stopping your union within you. Your need to wear a mask with your twin flame is definitely causing, that split inside of you. And the being inside of you could then start imagining that you're not compatible, or it's not the best relationship that I have with my twin. So you understand how this confusion basically gets, worsened, and how it basically reaches here. So this is all, guys. I hope that this was useful. If you need assistance with, whatever we spoke of today, if this resonated with you, if you feel guided to book a one-on-one session, my email address is imacomplete@gmail.com. All you have to do is write to me, and I will definitely be able to assist you with this and any other, area that you may be struggling with in your spiritual awakening journey. And I am available for one-on-one sessions till only about the 2nd of October. And post that, I will not be available for about 3 weeks because of something personal, because of some travel and, some things lined up for me. So if you wish to book, you can book it, before that, or you can continue to maybe, write to me, and I'll get back to you once I'm back. All right. So take care, guys. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. Sending you lots of love.